c'est agréable pour moi, oui, mais enfin agréable, oui et non.
It's very good for me. Well, actually, it's good and bad. There's a lot of noise, but apart from that, it's great. Apart from the noise, it's good.
There is a hold on the track as they deal with a timing problem. The workers taking advantage of the time to clear some snow. After a delay of nearly 5 minutes, the leader in the competition is ready to go down the track in the third heat. Mark Tout in Great Britain won. The brakeman Lenny Paul already feeling the pressure, obviously, John, as a result of their position in the standings. They've never been here before. Now the 5-minute wait. How much of a nightmare is that?
Well, we'll find out how good of an athlete he is right now, because that 5 minutes definitely broke his concentration.
Brooklyn, 198. Up.
The heat of his life, and he needs the 6:05, 6:06 start to throw the heat of his life and put himself still in first place, 6:11. That's the slowest start of 3 heats so far, Sean.
There is no doubt that in the sport of bobsled, the British are coming. Mark Tout is leading their charge. They've not won a medal since 1964 when Anthony Nash won the gold.
25.91. The Lance Corporal in the military. He's got an East German coaching him now. He's driving former East German sleds. Oh, really rough snap off there. His head really snapped. 121.2. That's no speed. 75.31. The Tout's going to fall off the pace, Sean.
Running 8th in this heat at the moment.
Whoa, you see his brakeman come up there, too.
And the brakeman came up again, perhaps not realizing that they were not yet at the finish. 1:01.44 the time in the heat, and that drops him to 6th place overall.
Here's his first mistake. He's in the left-hand wall all the way down this corner here. A little bit of a nick, and up top are the slow speeds. That's going to cost you at the bottom. Watch the brakeman's head. It's up here in the finish corner. Brakeman twice his head came up, now it goes back down. That shakes the sled around. A lot of mistakes.
Particularly by the brakeman, Lenny Paul, who kept popping up like Punxsutawney Phil looking for a shadow. Here's John Fee.
I'm here at the finish where the sleds are weighed after every heat. Why? Because a heavier sled is a faster sled, and they want to keep this competition fair. Now, the control weight for a two-man bobsled with a driver and brakeman is 858 pounds. If your sled weighs less than that, you're allowed to carry weights inside the sled. When they get to the bottom, the driver and brakeman get on the scales with their sled. If they weigh less than 858 pounds, they're fine. If they weigh more than 858 pounds, even by 1 ounce, they're disqualified. Back to you, Sean.
Ready to go, USA 1, the driver Brian Scheimer. Herschel Walker, the brakeman. They are 9th coming into this final day of competition.
Ready, and
let's watch Herschel's last step into the sled. Let's see if it's a power step or a jump step. Still look like a jump step to me. 6:11. Once he learns that power step, that's worth 200 or 300 more.
Best start time yesterday was 6:09. 6:11 right in the middle of their 2 start times.
Well, the couple sleds that are right in front of him faltered on the track. He's got a chance to move up 3 or 4 places here with any kind of good heat.
Brian Scheimer, former football player at Morehead State University. He played there 6 years after Phil Sim, belonged to the same fraternity. Brian Scheimer, while he was at Morehead State.
121.6, not a good sign. 75.56 miles an hour. 2,900's off the pace. He's got to hold that at least, have a chance to move up here. Oh, and he's a little bit tight in that wall, Sean, in the graveyard shift.
Coming to the line now. 1:01.22, still in 9th place. Scheimer and Walker do not move up. John, there was so much optimism for this duo after the training runs, but they're still disappointing.
Well, it's pretty tough to move up in that heat. They started almost last of the pack, and tough assignment for these guys today.
Okay. 3 heats down and 1 to go. The new leader is Gustav Vader in Switzerland 1. Gunther Uber in Italy won, holding on to second place, and the Germans are right back in contention. Brian Scheimer and Herschel Walker still ninth now after 3 heats. Brian Richardson and Greg Harrell in US 2, 25th. We'll return to La Plagne later in the day with the final run for the gold medal in two-man bobsled.
Yes, we will. We'll finish up the bobsled competition later in our program. And Andrea, you'd like to buy one of those buggies, huh?
Yes.
Two-man bobsled will cost you $20,000. A four-man vessel, $27,500. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I like the sportier model. I like the cheaper one, actually. Coming up, we will turn our attention back to speed skating, a little less expensive. We'll have reaction to Dan Jansen's loss from his hometown in West Allis, Wisconsin. We'll find out how today's 1,500 meters race finished up, and we will talk live with double gold medal winner Bonnie Blair. That and more after a word from your local station. People across the country are disappointed this weekend for Dan Jansen. He finished 4th in the 500-meter speed skating race yesterday, knowing there was trouble almost as soon as he crossed the finish line. But back in West Allis, Wisconsin, Jansen's hometown, fans are expressing their pride in the man who usually gets the job done. Dan Jiggets reports.
Down the lonely streets of this working-class community of West Allis, Wisconsin, the weather was indeed a reflection of the mood of the people in Dan Jansen's hometown. And over at the Happy Tap bar where Dan sometimes relaxes, the news of the results of his competition traveled fast.
Hello, Happy Tap. Oh, not so good. He finished 4th. It was very somber, very disappointing. The phone was ringing pretty much, people asking how he did, the results of the race, and every time I said it, I felt worse, you know.
It's a real bad feeling for us around here. We expected so much, and I think everybody did, and maybe a little bit too much. Dan went through a lot of adversity in '88, and hopefully he can bounce back from this.
Over at the rec center, they were ready for Dan to win a medal. But the party was all set up, and it will still go on, although now it will lack some luster. But that's the way working people are. However, change is in the air. The old Olympic ice rink where Dan learned to speed skate is now being torn down, and in its place will be a new indoor facility, all in the hopes that Dan will come back and use it, maybe in preparation for Lillehammer. Dan Jansen has one more opportunity at Olympic glory, that in the 1,000 meters. But to the folks around here, he's already a hero because of what he's already done.
There's not a lot of people that have won world championships such as him, and even coming in 4th is a great accomplishment, so we're real proud of him. He's a native of West Allis, and we all love him.
This is Dan Jiggets reporting.
Of course, the Olympics aren't over for Jansen. He will be back on the ice this Tuesday in the 1,000 meters race. Coming up next, the results of today's men's 1,500 meters race. Stay with us as we continue our coverage of the 1992 Albertville Games.
The 16th Olympic Winter Games on CBS are sponsored by Merrill Lynch, official sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. Loving care from Clairol. Clairol proudly salutes the beauty and spirit of America's Olympic athletes. McDonald's, what you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
We are back at the Speed Skating Oval in Albertville, where today we saw the men's 1,500 meters. We knew coming into the competition today that the Dutch skaters had a very good chance of winning their first gold medal since 1976, and their fans were here in full force to watch the youngster Falco Zanstra and the wily veteran Leo Visser to see if they indeed could pull off a gold medal. But as Eric Heiden told us before the competition started today, never count out a man named Johan Olaf Koss, the big boss from Norway. Norway came into this 16th Winter Olympiad having won more medals in speed skating than any other country, and they weren't to disappoint today as they added 2 more. But let's take a look back now at the highlights of today's action in the men's 1,500 meters. This was Leo Visser of the Netherlands against Roberto Siegel of Italy. Leo Visser somewhat of a surprise in winning a bronze medal in the 5,000 meters on Thursday. He was more of a distance skater back in the late 80s, and at Calgary was in the 5,000 and the 10,000, won a silver and a bronze there. He's really pared down his training in recent years and had focused on this 1,500 meters, and it paid off as he crossed the line in 1:54.90 and became the first skater of the day to go under a minute and 55 seconds. So Leo Visser of the Netherlands, with his fans here in full force, took the lead in the men's 1,500 meters, and obviously he was happy about that performance. But just 4 pairs later came Johan Olof Koss of Norway, the big boss, and this was his final lap. He took the World All-Around Championship in the 1,500 meters back in 1991. That was his best time, 1:52.76. Remember, he had an inflamed pancreas that last week had him in the hospital, and it was doubtful whether or not he would even take part in this Winter Olympic Games here in Albertville. But boy, did he put on a show. The best final 400 meters of the day, crossing the finish line in 1:54.81. And Johan Olof Koss, much to the dismay of Leo Visser, took over the #1 spot in the 1,500 meters. After a disappointing 7th place finish in Thursday's 5,000, Johan Olof Koss showing much more power in today's 1,500. Then he was to hold on and watch a teammate, the youngster Adna Sandral of Norway, just 20 years old. Last year in competition, he fell 5 times, so he started taking ballet to improve his balance. Boy, his balance was pretty good today as he was trying to chase down his teammate and longtime friend, Johan Olof Koss. This is the final turn, and now the final 70 meters. And the time to beat was Johan Olof Koss, 1:54.81. Sandral did all he could and almost got there, but finished 4 100ths behind his teammate, but it was good enough for a silver medal. So Johan Olof Koss of Norway wins the gold medal today in the men's 1,500 meters. Ard Schenk, who won 3 gold medals back in 1972, once said that about every 10 years you get a skater like Johan Olof Koss. He said 10 years or a little more has passed since Eric Heiden, and now it's Koss's time. Well, Koss, as a 10-year-old back in 1979, watched Eric Heiden win his 3rd World All-Around Championship and always dreamed that he could be a gold medalist like Eric Heiden. Well, we've got the gold medalist from '80 with the gold medalist from 1992.
Johan, slow start with the 5,000 meters, but today you had a chance to redeem yourself. You did a great job. You got to feel awfully proud.
Yeah, it was just a great feeling when I skated. I think it's the first time this year I could feel so well when I skated to 1,500. Oh, it was fantastic.
What was running through your mind with 400 meters to go? You were still running just a little bit behind Visser.
Oh, I just had to skate as fast as possible. I felt that I had a lot of power left, so it was just to go for it to the end. But, well, I was lucky when I saw the finish and saw the times. It was so close.
Now you have the 10,000 meters to look forward to.
Yeah, I look forward because we are 2 guys in the Norwegian team who wants to do it very well. Both Geir and me, we will skate as fast as possible, and then we will see on Thursday.
Well, congratulations on today's race, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for the 10,000.
So the 10,000 meter lies ahead for Johan Olof Koss on Thursday as he'll try to become a double gold medalist in this Winter Olympic Games. He's got the gold medal now in the 1,500. The hopeful for the United States today to win a medal was Eric Flame, who won a silver back in 1988 in Calgary. But he told us going in before the race that apparently some bad fish in the last day or so that he had eaten had made him feel terrible, and we didn't expect him to be in top form. He wasn't. Let's take a look back at Eric Flame's race as Eric Heiden and I called it.
Little wide on that turn, awfully wide on that inner surface lane.
It's going to take a super last lap for Eric Flame of the United States. 1:25.95 is split time.
So that last lap was 31 seconds. He's got a lot of making up to do. And you can see he's really starting to tire. Just doesn't have that snap in his legs anymore.
Eric Flame laboring a bit in the final outer. And remember, the time to beat is 1:54.81.
He's giving everything he's got, but you can see he's starting to sit up a little bit, lean forward. Toes of those skates are digging in.
Well, he caught his pair. Eric Flame, 1:59.60, and that would indicate we've got a dead heat between those two. So 1:59.60 the time for Eric Flame, and a 24th place finish. Eric Heiden certainly isn't what he was looking for.
Well, it's kind of disappointing. The one day you get a chance to shine, you get food poisoning, and you can see where it really took its toll over the last 600 meters with Eric.
So Johan Olaf Koss wins the gold. Tomorrow we look ahead to the women's 5,000 meters. What do you expect there?
I think it's going to be a battle between the two German women, Niemann and Warnecke. Maybe Hunyadi from Austria, but I think Niemann's going to be the one to count on.
We'll look ahead to that, but for today, the men's 1,500 meters looks like this. Johan Olaf Koss of Norway takes the gold. Adna Sandro, his teammate, the silver. Leo Visser of the Netherlands, the bronze. The top American finisher, Brian Wanek.
What a comeback for Big Boss Koss. A week ago, we sat here last Sunday night with the news that he was in the hospital. I thought, no way is this guy going to compete, and he comes up with the gold.
Poor Eric Flame. Stay away from the fish. Salad vert and pizza margarita. He probably would have been in a lot better shape. By the way, Norway now with 12 medals in the games, including 6 golds. They have the Winter Games coming up in just 2 short years in Norway. Coming up next, she's as good as gold, ×2. We'll talk live with double gold medal winner Bonnie Blair.
What a treat joining us now. The pride and joy of Champaign, Illinois, Bonnie Blair. Congratulations. It's great to see your beaming face. The first American woman to win 3 gold medals in the Winter Olympics, 2 here, 1 in Calgary. What are you going to do to top this?
You know, I didn't even really, I thought it was mainly just winter games, but they're even meaning I've even tied a record with summer athletes. And I didn't even realize that till I read the newspaper this morning. So, you know, that's very special to me. And I guess I accomplished something I didn't even know I was setting out to do.
You know, a minute ago, Bonnie, we were talking about Eric Flame having food poisoning before his race today. You actually have a secret cuisine that you've now worked both in 88 and 92, and it worked for you.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It seems to work.
It relieves you. It says it calms you down.
Yeah, you know, you want to find something that's going to sit well in your stomach, and, you know, that's just something that works well for me, and I know that it's not going to upset me at all, and so luckily my roommate had brought some peanut butter from back home, and it worked perfect.
Well, you haven't seen it yet, your 500-meter victory. That surprises me. Let's take a look at it and talk about it, will you, please?
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay, 500 meters. Seems like a long time ago now.
Yeah, it does.
I was curious when we were at the race, Jim and I were both there, and your family and your friends, you had such a huge crowd. Do you hear them when they're out there, or do you block it out?
Not actually when the gun goes off, but beforehand I do, and I gave them strict instructions, especially my sister Mary. I didn't want to hear her before I went to the starting line. I said, as soon as the gun goes off, you can yell all you want, otherwise I don't want to hear you. They just, you know, they get so excited, and, you know, they're nervous, and I just didn't want any extra nerves on me either. So I said, just try to keep it toned down a little bit.
When you finished here, did you think you had it?
You know, I thought it was a good time. I had known what they had skated earlier in the earlier pairings, as well as when they had the World Cup here earlier in the year. So I knew it was a good time. Most of the skaters that I thought were going to go well had already skated before me, so I pretty much knew that was it.
Now, we heard, you're such a big star now, right? We've heard that Bob Hope is trying to reach you through the Champaign Police Department, wants to put you on TV.
Oh.
Is this going to open up a big, whole new career for you?
Geez, I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know, maybe.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
You want us to be your press agents?
Sure.
What about Norway 94? You can't dodge that question.
Yeah,
people want to know.
They've been asking me as soon as I finished, like, crossing the finish line of the 500. But I still have my World Championships as soon as the Olympics is over with the next weekend. World Cup final, another meet in Calgary the 1st of April. After that, I just need to kind of take a break a little bit, and then I'll make my decision about Norway.
2 golds there, and you could tie Eric Heiden's 5. And I think Peter Miller
but he did it in 1 Olympic.
That's right. Your coach, Peter Miller, who you love, thinks you're going to be coming back for that.
Yeah, he pretty much already has my reservations made, but I said I want to take some time off first, and then we'll see.
All right, Bonnie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And coming up next, we'll head back to La Plagne for the conclusion of today's 2-man bobsled competition.
Piste libre.
Ready now for their final heat of this competition. Brian Scheimer and Herschel Walker in USA 1. They came into today's action 28 hundredths out of a medal. They are now 41 hundredths out of a medal, and realistically, they will not win a medal. But they do have a chance to move up and finish this otherwise disappointing competition on a positive note.
Watch Herschel's last step into the sled. He still hasn't learned that power step, but 6:07. That is their best start of the 4 heats, and it comes at a time when everybody else is slowing down in the 4th heat.
John, with their performance to this point, do you think it's safe to say that perhaps Brian and Herschel did not have enough time together in training because of Herschel's football schedule?
Well, Sean, at this point in the competition, I have to agree with you. If there's ever a time that I'm convinced bobsledding is a team sport, not super individuals just coming together in the last 3 weeks, it has been proven here in this competition.
These two had hoped for a medal, but it should not be lost that Brian Scheimer has come a long way in this sport. Good speed at the moment, 122 kilometers per hour. That's 75.8 miles per hour. They're having their best run. And you know the folks in Naples, Florida are proud. They've done a lot to help Brian get to this point.
He can move up a couple places here, Sean. Good heat for Scheimer.
Across the line, 101.12. Their best run of the competition.
They improved every time, but the difference is here at the start. Look at Scheimer and Walker on the left. Watch the way they load. Here comes the Germans on the right. Walker gets in with no real power. His load is weak. Here's the Germans with a power step in the sled. They're much more of a team at the start. Herschel's individual.
Germany won, 5th, heading into the final heat. The pilot, Rudy Lochner. Marcus Zimmerman, the brakeman. They made the biggest move in the last heat, from 10th to 5th.
The best starting team in the competition, and he needs the big-time sub-6-second start here. And he does. He's gone from 11th place in the first heat, 4th place in the second, and the second best time in the 3rd heat, so he's been on a roll since that mistake-plagued first heat.
And the start here in the 4th heat, 5.98, matching the best start of the competition.
Present world champion, and I still think he's got a chance for a medal, but he can't afford any mistakes down here at all, Sean. He's got to be perfectly clean.
He was 17 hundredths out of a medal heading into this final heat. And the 4 sleds ahead of him are still to make their final run.
122.8. That's the best speed we've seen so far. 76.3 miles an hour. So Lochner rushing to the finish, and maybe this will put him in medal contention.
Around the finish curve, a great run for Rudy Lochner in Germany 1. 1:96. That run might have got him back into the medal picture. It will certainly put pressure on the sliders still to come down the track. Let's check in with Leslie Visser.
Sean, have you noticed how sacred the runners are? Those bobsled blades are coddled and protected as though they were some kind of priceless heirloom. And the lore that surrounds them is equally mythical. It is said that the Germans hand their runners down from sled to sled for the past 20 years. That's about how you handle your cutlery, isn't it?
Now, Leslie, that's a cutting remark. Trying to cut out the heart of his countrymen is Christoph Langen in Germany 2, 4th after the 3rd run. Germany 1 has the lead. Germany 2 needs a time of 1:01:02 to take the lead away from Rudy Lochner.
They had a 6:02 in the last heat. Lochner just threw a great heat together. They're going to need at least that to challenge. There it is, 6:02. So great consistency by the German number 2 sled. There's only 600ths of a second separating Germany 1 and Germany 2. So that clock on the left, you're going to tell, they're 7th. So right now, he would lose his place to Lochner. His place is talking about are medals.
Longen's only been driving since 1990. He was a brakeman in the Olympics in '88 in Calgary.
122.4. Lochner at better speed. 76.06. Look at that. 600s. We're looking at a dead heat here. The Germans head-to-head.
Christoph Longen heading for the finish line, trying to take the lead from Rudi Lochner, and he did not. Lochner has passed his countryman Christoph Longen. At the start, Austria 2. Third, heading into this final heat. They could hold that spot, they'd win a medal. Ingo Oppelt, the driver. Thomas Schroll, the brakeman. John, are they aware that Lochner came flying down this track moments ago?
Yes, that's going to bother him. Because they don't get the start that Lochner does. He's probably going to have around a 6:16 start. 6:14. So that's his best start of the competition, Sean. And they knew they had to have the best start to a chance. So they've got a pretty comfortable lead on Lochner. Almost 1,700ths of a second. So all things considered, the way Appelt's been driving, he should easily do that. But some strange things have been happening out here on this track.
The time to beat and stay ahead of Lochner, 101.13.
Well, 2,500s behind now. He better have 122.5 kilometers or he's in trouble.
Oppelt, 30 years old. He does have good speed, 122.4.
Next clock will tell, 26. So right now it looks like he's going to lose the bronze medal to Lochner.
Ingo Oppelt trying to win a medal for Austria. To the line, he ducks his head, but it doesn't get him enough extra speed. He is third now behind both Lochner and Longen, and in all likelihood he will not win a medal. Lochner will. He's guaranteed the bronze, and he celebrates that. Though with two sleds still to come, and with Oppelt third, he's likely not to get a medal. Up next, Italy 1, driven by Gunther Huber, second after 3 heats. Then the leader in the competition after 3 heats, Gustav Bader in Switzerland 1. We'll return to La Plagne for the run for the gold medal after this message from your local station. And trying to come from way behind to win the two-man bobsled is Rudi Lochner, the leader in the clubhouse. Now just 2 sleds remaining. Italy 1, Gunther Huber and Stefano Ticci. They need a time of 101.24 to stay ahead of Lochner.
There's another sled who gives up a lot of time to the start with Lochner. Probably a 6:17 or so, 6:15. So it's not his best start of the competition, but he's already 1,700ths behind Lochner, and that's right on the bubble for the medal. Huber, like Appelt, though, is a very good driver. Appelt wasn't a good enough driver down the track, so again, he's got a lot of time to play with.
He was 2,800ths ahead of Lochner coming into this final heat, but he's already lost 25/100ths of that time. And now he's lost 31/100ths. He's off the pace. It's already been a very disappointing Olympic for the Huber family. Norbert Huber, his brother, finished 4th in men's singles luge, lost the bronze medal by 300ths of a second. Arnold Huber, the world champion, didn't qualify to compete in the Olympics in luge. And now here comes Gunther Huber, hanging on to his hope for a medal by a thread. The time, 101.41. He will not win a medal.
Disappointing. Not for that guy. Rudi Lochner still top of the leaderboard.
That means Lochner is guaranteed the silver medal, and his countryman, Christoph Longen, is guaranteed the bronze medal. What a comeback for Rudi Lochner. And the other big comeback story in this competition, Gustav Vader. Here's Leslie.
Sean, the Swiss coaches were not surprised that Gustav Vader moved from 5th place up to 1st. Yesterday, he had the wrong runners on his sled for the cold conditions. Today, they made the change, and they were pleased with his first run. For the second run, however, they'd like him to improve his start times. As you know, in Switzerland, they expect nothing less than the gold from Gustav Vader.
Gustav Vader, the leader after 3 heats in Switzerland 1. He was 29/100ths ahead of Lochner coming into this final heat. The time to beat 101.25 for Switzerland 1.
603 needs at least something like that to compete 604. So the other 2 sleds couldn't compete at the start with the Germans. The Swiss can. All things considered, Vader only has to let the sled go down and he'll have the gold medal. He's got a very comfortable lead. So he also was in 9th place at the end of the first heat. To have the opportunity to win the gold medal, he's exactly where he wants to be right now. Everything's in his hands, Sean.
Vader has never won an Olympic medal. He finished 4th in the '88 Olympics in Calgary.
They say his passion, his hobby is to build the sleds. His passion is to drive them. Well, right now, his passion to carry him to the gold medal.
121.2, not as quick as some of the other sleds we have seen, but it might be good enough. At the moment, it is more than good enough.
And the reason it's good enough, Sean, is because he had the good starts. The Italians and Austrians didn't.
Gustav Vader of Switzerland at the finish line. He wins the gold medal.
Great comeback.
What a great scene there as Vader and Lochner embrace.
Great camaraderie down there, Sean.
Gustav Vader won the only medal that would have been satisfying to him, the gold medal. Lochner of Germany won the silver, the bronze to Longen of Germany 2. Here's John Fee.
Gustav, you were in 9th place going after the first heat. Coming to this, were you confident you could win it?
Yeah, it's a sensation. I dreamed, but was a very, very good second day. I changed runners because it was too hot here, and it was a little risk, but it was fantastic.
Oh, congratulations, a super victory.
They'll be celebrating long into the night in Switzerland as Gustav Vader wins the gold medal in 2-man bobsled. We'll have some final thoughts and a conversation with Brian Scheimer and Herschel Walker right after this. The final standings in 2-man bobsled. Gustav Vader in Switzerland 1 wins the gold medal, followed by Germany 1 and Rudi Lochner winning the silver. Christoph Longen in Germany 2 wins the bronze. John, it was certainly an amazing finish to this competition, especially when you consider where Gustav Vader and Rudi Lochner came from to win their medals. They were 9th and 11th, respectively, after the first heat, 5th and 10th, respectively, coming into today's action. This has to rank as one of the great Olympic bobsled competitions of all time.
Well, usually the guys who would get 1st, 2nd, and 3rd are right there in their first heat, but to see Vader, who was in 9th, and Lochner, who was in 11th, come back to get on top of the leaderboard 1st and 2nd, respectively, it is definitely the best race I've ever seen in the Olympics.
Yesterday was a disappointing day for the United States. USA 1, driven by Brian Scheimer with Herschel Walker, the brakeman, was 9th coming into today's action, but they finished strong. They had their best heat in the final heat and wound up 7th.
Well, most importantly, Scheimer's closed the gap. Last year at the World Championships, he also finished 7th, but last year he was 2.5 seconds out of the gold medal. This year he's only 7/10 out of the gold medal. So Scheimer's definitely improved his driving abilities, and he's got to think of that for Lillehammer 2 years from now, that if he puts his starts down there and gets competitive, he could be a challenger for the gold.
Let's join Leslie Visser. She's with Brian Scheimer and Herschel Walker.
Herschel, your first Olympic Games, you finished 7th. How much more experience would you need until you're satisfied?
Well, I'm not satisfied until we win everything. That was one reason I came here, is to win it all. So, you know, you can never be satisfied with finishing 7th. You know, you can be happy with it, and that should encourage you to go out and do a little bit better. But for myself, I'm never going to be satisfied until we can win it all.
Your coach said that you improve every time you go down the track. What are some of the adjustments that you've been making?
Well, the adjustment is Brian and I talked about it last night, and, you know, we decided I'm going to use a little bit different power step into the sled, and we're just going to hit it with my head up like we said yesterday, and it seemed to work a little bit more.
Brian, do you think that maybe your expectations and America's expectations were too high given the limited time you two spent together?
No, not at all. I mean, you got one of the best athletes in the world here, and you know, athleticism plays a big part in bobsledding. You know, strength and speed. You know, and you know, maybe we didn't click from the first push, but I think, you know, we got better with each push, and for being together a shorter period of time and doing as well as we did, I think, you know, there's something to say about that.
Well, thank you both. We'll look forward to Lillehammer.
The United States is making strides, but they still have a way to go to catch the best in the world. And the best pilot in the world in two-man bobsled is Gustav Bader of Switzerland. That's the story from La Plagne. We hope you'll be with us on Friday for the start of the four-man bobsled competition.
And one other note, that seventh place finish, the best by an American two-man effort since 1980.
And a big day for Switzerland, their first gold medal of the games here, and maybe now the Swiss press will back off and lighten up just a little bit. The press has been very critical of the Alpine team for its lack of success so far, so now they've got something good to talk about.
Great Britain led after yesterday's first two runs. Switzerland wins it today. The significance for those two, only two countries have competed in every modern Winter and Summer Olympics, Great Britain and Switzerland. They've been in them all since the Olympic modern games started back in 1896. And coming up next, our conversation with a couple of hockey stars, Clark Donatelli and Scott Young from the U.S. hockey team.
The U.S. hockey team is a win or a tie away from winning Pool A and facing France in the medal round next Tuesday. But that win or tie must come against Team USA's next opponent, Sweden, on Monday. A loss, though, would put the U.S. up against Czechoslovakia on Wednesday. Jim and I spoke earlier this afternoon with U.S. team members Clark Donatelli and Scott Young, and I asked Young about playing Sweden.
Well, I think, you know, Sweden's the pre-tournament favorite here, and they're a very fast team with a lot of experience, and it's going to be a real challenge for us. We played them right before the tournament here in Chamonix and had some pretty good success against them, so it ought to be a very good game.
Scott, we like your cap, but I want you to look over at Clark and tell us the story behind this message on his hat.
Yeah, that was one of Bob Johnson's famous quotes. It's a great day for hockey. I was lucky enough to have Bob as a coach last year with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he was just such an enthusiastic guy and did so much for hockey that that's what everybody remembers Bob Johnson about is that quote.
You were both on the 88 team. Clark, can you tell us how different this is from 88?
Well, I think the difference is we're winning this year, this time around. I think in 1988 we had a great team, and a lot of people won't even know how great the team was. But, you know, in 1988 it just wasn't meant to be. And I think this time around, you know, we're playing pretty good hockey right now. We still have a long way to go, but, you know, I feel the team's very confident right now. The goaltending's playing very well. We're playing great team defense, and the guys on the team are real enthusiastic.
Clark, do you have a feel for all the enthusiasm that America is feeling right now about you guys?
No, not really. Today we heard a little bit about it, but we're kind of isolated from it. We're kind of out here and we're just preparing for the next game, so we don't get a chance really to see too much television about what's going on back home. But today, for the first time, we really heard about some of the hype back home.
All right, Clark. Scott, good luck tomorrow against Sweden.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In that reference to Coach Bob Johnson, he was the U.S. coach in the Olympics in '76 and coached Pittsburgh last year to the Stanley Cup title. He died of cancer a little more than 2 months ago. And a reminder, we'll have complete live coverage of tomorrow's game between the Swedes and Americans beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 noon Pacific.
Tonight, you'll see ice dancing on our primetime coverage. Earlier today, Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko of the unified team were practicing. This is a husband and wife team. They were in first place after the compulsory dance on Friday.
Tonight, the original program, and it's the polka. Ivanova and Ponomarenko will be battling. Very strong French audience there rooting on the Duchesnays. They're more excited about the Duchesnays here in France than really any other group of athletes or any single event. This ice dancing has really captured them.
They find themselves almost in a position of being an underdog to the Duchesnays at this competition. And we will be back with some final words after this. And a final reminder, we will be back here tomorrow for a full afternoon of President's Day Olympic action. If you have to work, take a TV set to the office. We will begin at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, featuring complete coverage of the USA-Sweden hockey game.
And still ahead tonight, beginning at 8 Eastern and 7 Central, ice dancing competition featuring the favorites, Isabelle and Paul Duchesnay. Also, large hill ski jumping and the men's Super G ski race. It's been a fun day. Enjoyed meeting Bonnie Blair.
Oh, terrific. She's wonderful.
Alberto Tamba arrived today at the Savoie. His first race is on Tuesday. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
The 16th Olympic Winter Games on CBS are sponsored by Lennox. When quality heating and cooling's a must be a Lennox. Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question. Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. Later tonight on Prime Time, watch the stunning Duchesnays as they take the ice in ice dancing.